Today I'm doing a little demonstration with art resin on cell phone cases. I have my art resin already mixed. I let it set for about 20 minutes because it's a little bit easier to work with on the cell phone cases. When it's a little bit thicker, they're so much trickier because there's the camera hole cases, and on the Samsung Galaxy there's several holes and it leaks in there, and if you're not around to babysit it and catch it, it's really hard to get in. And then of course the phone isn't going to sit flush against the cell phone case. I'm just using a toothpick to kind of guide it over to the edges. Sometimes the resin doesn't like to stick to the edges a little bit, and it gets some creases, and that's why it's a little bit easier if you let it set up for a little bit and get a little bit more tacky. And there's a little bit running off the edges. You have to be careful for that too. It's always better to start using very, very small amounts, because once you've made a mess of your cell phone case, it's really hard to fix it. Well, I'm going to add a little bit more, just going to add it down the edges, or down the middle. Spread it a little bit more out. And if you look closely, you can see what I mean up here with the creases. It sometimes, for some reason, doesn't like to go all the way over. You might need to check on it quite often. Well, you should anyways with the cell phone cases. You really want to babysit them and check underneath and check on the sides and guide it over before it cures. Now I'm just going to clean up these edges here and check. I'm going to lift it up and check underneath to make sure there's none that's spilled underneath yet. That doesn't mean 20 minutes from now there's not going to be a huge pool sitting underneath the edges of the camera hole. Looks like it could use a little tiny bit more. So very slowly pour. I'm going to set that one off to the side, change out my gloves, and do my second. I'm just going to do the same thing and outline the edge. Grab a clean toothpick. I didn't use any sort of sealant on this sticker, so the resin's gonna seep in there, which is actually kind of what I was looking for to make it look a little bit more aged and vintage paper. Pour the last little bit of resin on. It's just so much easier to work with when it's thicker on the cell phone cases. And because there's a few bubbles, I'm going to take a lighter, but very, very quickly, because I don't want the plastic to warp, and run it over and pop those bubbles. And then a little bit back over. And before I put the inclusions on, I'm going to check, and there is a little bit that's spilled underneath. So I'm going to wipe that off. And I just have a mirror here. Put that on. Hold it down for a few minutes so it kind of seals and will stick. Couple feathers. And that's almost all there is to it, except for the babysitting that I'm going to be needing to do to make sure that it doesn't spill over the sides and through the camera holes. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.